Hello my dear students, hope you all are doing great. In yesterday's lecture, we have already started the 11th chapter of your textbook, that was alcohol, phenols and ethers. Hope you have started reading the textbook. So today we are going to start with methods of preparation of alcohol, phenols as well as of ethers. In yesterday's lecture, we have seen the general reactions of both alcohol, phenols and ethers. We have seen the nomenclature and the classification of all these three. Today we are going to see how these three are prepared. First we'll talk about phenols. We all know alcohol, phenols and ethers, they have ample of uses. Hence it is essential for preparing this compound. So today the first thing we are going to talk about is the preparation of phenols. In your textbook, they have given 4 different methods of preparation of phenols, and all these 4 are important for your state board examination. We are going to look in detail about these 4 reactions. So let's get started. Okay, so as I told you that there are 4 methods of preparation of phenols. The first one is from chlorobenzene, which is also called as the dose process. The second one is from cumene, which is cumene, that is from isopropyl benzene. Next one from benzene sulfonic acid, and the last one is from aniline. Aniline is nothing else but an aromatic ring and an NH2 on it. So we'll study all these 4 in detail. The first method of preparation of phenol is dose process. Dose process, industrially very important method of preparation of phenol. In this reaction, where an aryl halide is heated at 623 Kelvin at 300 atmosphere, you get sodium phenoxide, and when this sodium phenoxide is further diluted with HCl, phenol formation takes place. So, here first you get sodium phenoxide, that is O minus Na plus. Sodium phenoxide on further dilution with HCl will give you phenol. So this reaction is simple. Chlorobenzene, when it is treated with NaOH, sodium hydroxide at 623 Kelvin at 300 atmosphere, sodium phenoxide formation takes place. When it is further diluted with HCl, with the removal of NaCl, you will get phenol. And this is an industrially important method for preparation of phenol. You can get a question like, how can you prepare phenols from chlorobenzene? Okay, so the next method of preparation of phenol is from cumene. Now, cumene is also called as isopropyl benzene. Cumene on oxidation with air will give you cumene hydroperoxide. What happens in this case is, this oxygen will get clumped over here. Okay, so you'll get cumene hydroperoxide. This cumene hydroperoxide with dilution with HCl will give you phenol and acetone. Okay, you will get this OH will go and attach over here, and this remaining part is removed as acetone. Both the products that are obtained in this method, that is phenols and acetone, are important products. You get phenol as well as acetone. Acetone too has ample of uses. So you can get a question for 2 marks or 3 marks like, how can you prepare phenol from cumene? Okay, so cumene on oxidation with O2 in the presence of cobalt naphthalate as a catalyst at 423 Kelvin will give you cumene hydroperoxide. This cumene hydroperoxide decomposes with dilute HCl to give you phenol and acetone. Now in the next slide, we are going to study the preparation of phenol from benzene sulfonic acid. This is a neutralization reaction wherein benzene sulfonic acid, that is acid, is treated with a base to give you benzene sulfonate. This benzene sulfonate, when it fuses with NaOH at 573 Kelvin, will give you phenoxide, and this phenoxide on further dilution with acid would give you phenol. So here we have got phenol from benzene sulfonic acid on neutralization with NaOH which will first give you sodium benzene sulfonate. This benzene sulfonate on fusion with NaOH at 573 Kelvin will give you sodium phenoxide, that is O minus Na plus, which on dilution with HCl will give you phenol. So we can obtain phenol from benzene sulfonic acid. The next one is from aniline. We all know the structural formula for aniline, right? So aniline, when it is treated with nitrous acid. Now what is nitrous acid? Nitrous acid is a mixture of NaNO2 and HCl, and this reaction is carried out at lower temperature to obtain benzene disonium chloride. Now what is benzene disonium chloride? Di means 2 and zonium means nitrogen. So benzene disonium chloride is obtained in this reaction. You get 2 nitrogens and a chlorine, which on further hydrolysis will give you phenol with the removal of N2 and HCl. So from aniline, when it is treated with a nitrating mixture, that is NaNO2 and HCl, would give you benzene disonium chloride. This is your disonium salt, which on further hydrolysis will give you phenol and N2 would be given out. So these were the methods of preparation of phenols. In all, we have learned 4 methods of preparation of phenol, and all the 4 are important for your board examination. Okay, so the next one we are going to study is methods of preparation of alcohols. Now for the preparation of alcohols, there are 5 different methods which are given in your textbook, out of which Grignard's reagent is one of the important methods. We all know Grignard's reagent is an organometallic compound, that is RMgX, where R is the alkyl group, Mg is the metal and X is the halogen. So you can prepare alcohols by many different methods, one of which, the important one of which is the Grignard's reagent, which is an organometallic compound. We are going to study all these 5 in detail. So let's get started. Okay, the first method of preparation is preparation of alcohol from alkyl halides, that is RX. So what happens in this reaction is, this is an hydrolysis reaction. When alkyl halide is treated with NaOH, what is happening in this reaction is ROH, that is alcohol is formed with the liberation of NaX. For example, if I take bromoethane, when it is treated with NaOH, sodium hydroxide, you will get ethanol. Br would be removed, OH will go and attach over here, so you will get ethanol, that is C2H5OH, and this Na will go with Br. So you will get NaBr as the product. Same way, instead of NaOH, we can also use KOH. We will see it in the next slide. That is, we can also use KOH or AgOH. KOH also, the reaction is same. K and X would be given out and oxygen will go and attach over here. In this way, you can get alcohol as the product. You can do it with AgOH also. One of the example is given over here. Okay. So the next method of preparation is by acid catalyzed hydration of alkene. Now this method in this method Markovnich's rule is used. What is Markovnich's rule? When an unsymmetrical reagent is treated with an unsymmetrical alkene. I repeat, when an unsymmetrical reagent is treated with an unsymmetrical alkene, the negative part of the reagent will go and attach to the carbon having less number of hydrogen. So this reaction follows the Markovnich's rule. We'll see how does it follows Markovnich's rule from the slide. Okay. So alkenes, they react with sulfuric acid. This is your sulfuric acid to produce alkyl hydrogen sulfate. This is alkyl hydrogen sulfate, which on hydrolysis will give you alcohol. Now how does it follows Markovnich's rule? This sulfuric acid will go and attach to the carbon having less number of hydrogen. So according to Markovnich's rule, this OSO3H will go and attach to the carbon having less number of hydrogens and will give you alkyl hydrogen sulfate. This alkyl hydrogen sulfate, when it is further hydrolyzed, will give you alcohol as the product. So by hydration of alkenes, by following Markovnich's rule, you can get alcohol as the product. In the next method is by reduction of carbonyl compounds. Now what are carbonyl compounds are? Carbonyl compounds include aldehydes, ketones, etc. So in this reaction, what happens is, by reduction is addition of hydrogen with strong reducing agents like lithium aluminium hydride, or by H2, or in the presence of nickel, you will get your desired alcohols as the product. How does it take place? We'll see it in detail. That is, aldehydes on reduction in the presence of H2 or any metal like nickel, or strong reducing agents like lithium aluminium hydride, you'll get primary alcohol as the product. So here the addition of hydrogen takes place. Same way in the case of ketones also, in the presence of strong reducing agents like lithium aluminium hydride, you'll get secondary alcohol as the product. So here you have reduction which is taking place. Reduction is none other than addition of hydrogen atom, and you get alcohols from formaldehyde, that is from aldehyde also, and from ketone also. Now in the next slide, we'll be talking about reduction in case of carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid requires strong reducing agents like lithium aluminium hydride. But lithium aluminium hydride is a bit expensive. So commercially what happens is, it is first transferred into esters, which on further catalytic hydrogenation will give you primary alcohols. That is, for saving money or for economical concern, what is happening over here is, this compound, that is carboxylic acid, is transferred into esters, which on further catalytic hydrogenation will give you primary alcohols as the product. Okay. Now in the next method, this is the important method which we are going to talk about, is from Grignard's reagent. As I told you in the beginning only, this is an organometallic compound where you have RMgX, where R can be any alkyl group, Mg is your metal, and X can be your halogen. How does the addition takes place over here? In this reaction, alcohols are produced by the reaction of Grignard's reagent with aldehydes or ketones. So you can get primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols by this method. In the first step of the reaction is the nucleophilic addition of Grignard's reagent to the carbonyl group. For example, this R, which is negative, will go and attach on this carbon, right? So in this structure you can see R goes and attaches on the carbon atom, and this remaining MgX would form as a adduct. Then this product, that is the adduct which is formed, which is further hydrolyzed, will give you alcohol as the product. So in Grignard's reagent, what happens is, the alkyl part will go and attach on the carbon and will form a adduct. This adduct on hydrolysis will yield alcohol as the product. So this was one more method of preparation of alcohol. In the next method, before we start with the next one, here we have mentioned the preparation of alcohols by Grignard's reagent can give primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol. If you use formaldehyde as a starting product, you'll get primary alcohol. If you use aldehyde as the starting product, you'll get secondary alcohol. If you use ketone as a starting product, will give you tertiary alcohol. Now we'll move on to the methods of preparation of ethers. Ethers, they are formed by dehydration of alcohol. In this reaction, there is importance given to the temperature, and one more condition is essential, that is there should be less hindrance of the alkyl group. What happens in dehydration of alcohol is, when alcohol is heated with a dehydrating agent like concentrated H2SO4 or H3PO4, two products are formed, either ether or alkene. Now in this case we require ether. So for the formation of ether, there are two important conditions which are essential. That is, we should have a low temperature at 413 Kelvin, and there should be less hindrance of the alkyl group bonded to OH. How this is possible, we are going to see in the next slide. Now here one example is given, that is dehydration of ethanol by H2SO4, which will give you ethoxyethane at 413 Kelvin, whereas in the next step at 443 Kelvin, it will give you ethene. At 443 Kelvin, you are getting ethene, that is at higher temperature, elimination occurs, but when the temperature is less, you will get the formation of ether, which we want. That is, in this case, you will get ether from ethanol. Let's see it from the slide, how the mechanism takes place. Okay, so the mechanism of intermolecular dehydration of alcohol. How it is going to be there, we'll see in detail. The intermolecular dehydration of alcohol takes place in the presence of sulfuric acid at 413 Kelvin, which leads to the formation of ethers. It follows SN2 mechanism, that is bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. How is the mechanism that we'll see in detail, in step by step. First is the formation of protonated alcohol. How does the formation takes place is, when ethanol is protonated, that is this H plus is obtained from sulfuric acid. So this H plus is coming from sulfuric acid and protonation takes place. What happens is, this OH will donate its electron to H plus and you will get protonated alcohol as the product. Now in the second step, what happens is, one more alcohol comes into picture, that is nucleophilic attack of alcohol molecule on protonated alcohol. Yes. So what is happening over here? This is your first alcohol which is formed, that is your protonated alcohol, which we have seen in the first step. In this case, one more alcohol comes over here and it gets attached to this CH2, and in the slow step, what happens is, you'll get the formation of ether in this case with the removal of water molecules. So in the second step, what is happening is, nucleophilic attack of another alcohol molecule is taking place. In the third step, again deprotonation takes place. Now what is deprotonation is? It is a fast step, and in this case what happens is, the H plus is removed and you will get the formation of ether as told. So in this method, by 3 different steps, ether formation takes place. The last method of preparation of ether is by Williamson synthesis, wherein you can get symmetrical as well as mixed ether. In the last lecture, we have seen what are symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers. When both the alkyl groups attached to the oxygen are same, they are known as symmetrical ethers. Whereas if both the groups are different, then they are known as unsymmetrical ethers. In Williamson synthesis, you can get the formation of both symmetrical as well as unsymmetrical ethers. What happens in this reaction is, simple as well as mixed ethers can be prepared in the laboratory by Williamson synthesis. In this method, alkyl halide is treated with sodium alkoxide or sodium phenoxide, and this R dash, this comes together and gives you ether, whereas sodium and the halogen which is there, it is removed. The only limitation of this method is, in the next slide we'll see, the only limitation of this method is, for example, if we take tertiary butyl methyl ether which is treated with methyl bromide. Okay, directly this oxygen which is negative charge can be joined with this and can give you tertiary butyl methyl ether, whereas sodium bromide is given out. This takes place easily. Why? Because there is less hindrance over here. But if you have a bulkier group, then there is a problem. What it is, we'll see in the next slide. The last one, the limitation of this method is when alkyne halide is secondary or tertiary, the nucleophilic attack of alpha carbon atom is sterically difficult because crowding takes place over here. In the reaction, we'll see this in detail. Okay, so what is happening in this reaction is alkoxides are stronger bases and attacking beta hydrogen is easier, hence beta elimination takes place over here. For example, when tertiary butyl bromide, this is your tertiary butyl bromide, when it is heated with sodium ethoxide, isobutylene is formed as the product. Now in this case, since it is a bulkier group, the addition is a bit difficult. So what happens is, this oxygen will go and attack over here and hence this bond will be broken and you will get a double bond over here. And so in this case, due to bulkier group, due to the crowding effect, it is difficult for formation of ethers. In the next lecture, we are going to talk about the physical properties of alcohol, phenols and ethers. Read this topic, that is the topics which are discussed today, that is preparation of alcohol, phenols and ethers. All these three are important as per your state board is concerned. In the next lecture, we'll talk about the physical and chemical properties of alcohol, phenols and ethers.